Barry? Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
We're delighted to be able to join together here in the Molish Sanctuary to celebrate Shabbat. And also, we want to wish Shabbat Shalom to those watching via live stream or on other platforms. Welcome to Beth Am. And we're especially excited that this Shabbat we are celebrating the bar mitzvah of Max Hartman, who's going to be on the bima very shortly. But first, we're going to begin with a reading on page 7. Where has this week vanished? Is it lost forever? Will I ever recover anything from it? The joy of life, the unexpected victory, the realized hope, the task accomplished. Will I ever be able to banish the memory of pain, the sting of defeat, the heaviness of boredom? On this day, let me keep for a while what must drift away. On this day, let me be free of the burdens that must return. On this day, Shabbat, abide. Together, help me to withdraw for a while from the flight of time, contain the retreat of the hours and days from the grasp of frantic life. Let me learn to pause, if only for this day. Let me find peace on this day. Let me enter into a quiet world this day.
On this day, Shabbat, abide.
Abide. We continue with Maya Fe Hayom, which can be found on page 10. Page 10. Thank you. We welcome Shabbat with the lighting of Shabbat candles on first page 3, followed by page 2. It's my pleasure to call forward Max and Charlie and their parents, Rachel and Jim, to come light Shabbat candles. Please rise.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
What
Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Thank you. We're going to actually ask the whole Hartman family to come to the rabbi's podium as we invite Max to lead us in Kiddush on pages 4 and 5.
ויהי ערב ויהי בוקר יום השישי ויחולך השמיים והארץ וכל צבאם ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו כי בשבת מכל מלאכתו כי בשבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. Bottom of page 4.
The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that God had been doing, and God ceased on the seventh day from all the work that God had done. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, because on it God ceased from all the work of creation that God had done. Baruch atah Adonai,
Beautiful.
Is it good? I will take this from you, sir. There will be more Kiddush. I'm going to invite the congregation to be seated and your family to stay up here, actually, because Barry Tinkleman, a member of our board, the Vice President of Religious Practices, has some things to offer you and to greet you with on behalf of the congregation. Mr.
Go
Max.
forward, Max.
Let me hold this. Go ahead.
So Mazel Tov, Max, and to the apartments. I hope this will be a wonderful weekend for you. I know it will be. Come and relax. You're fine. You're really good. You are at a threshold where you transition from childhood to a young adult, assuming a gradually increasing role in the direction your life will take. Like generations of the children of Israel, your parents are here to guide you, so yes, you still have to listen to them. And you also have the wisdom of Torah from which you'll read and teach tomorrow. Can words written thousands of years ago have relevance in 2022? Though many of the specific provisions of your parasha, Behar, may not be applicable in our world, the underlying principle is. Torah teaches that we are but temporary leaseholders in this world, and it is our responsibility to share our blessings with those less fortunate. You organized a bake sale and earned a nice sum of money. But in the spirit of your portion, you gave that money to help people who are in desperate need. We hope you continue to be a blessing to your family and to share your blessings. Tonight, it's our pleasure to share something with you as you become a bar mitzvah. Our brotherhood and sisterhood are delighted to present you with a Kiddush cup, which we hope will remind you for many Friday nights to come of this special time. And you'll bring that with you tomorrow because you'll make Kiddush with that tomorrow. We also have a certificate of membership to the Temple-Beth Federation of Temple Youth. That's also known as BAFTI. And we have a gift certificate that's worth $250 towards a trip to Israel when you're a little older. Mazel tov. Enjoy it. Have a great time.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Barry. Mazel tov, Max. The good news is that, Max, you don't have to lead any more of the service tonight. And I promise I will take it all, okay? Me and the canner, we'll take care of it. Mazel tov. We're looking forward to much celebrating and joyousness together. Shabbat shalom, and thank you for being here tonight.
Shabbat shalom.
We're going to continue with our service on page 20 with the singing of Lecha Dodi. We're going to continue with Shalom Aleichem on page 24.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hashovet, Malachei Elyon, Yemelech, Malachei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, הקדוש ברוך הוא. ברכוני לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. צאתכם לשלום, מלאכי השלום, מלאכי העליון. ממלך מלאכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
We rise for Chatzi Kaddish, page 26.
יתגדל ויתקדש ברובו. בעלמתי ברכירותי וימלך מלכותי. ויכון וכון וחיית כל בית ישראל. בגלו ובזמן קריב. ויאמרו אמן. יחי שמי הרב המבורך, לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה. יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי דקודשו בריחו. לחייל מן כל ברכתו ושירתו, תושבחתו ונחמתו, דמירן בעלמה, ואמרו אמן. ברכו את אדוני המבורך, ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
Please join with me. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom v'layla, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil ben yom uvein layla, Adonai tzvaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai, hama'ariv aravim.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל, עמך אהבתו. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו לימדתו. על כן אדוני אלוהינו, בשוכבנו ובקומנו, נשיח בחוקיך, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, ובמצוותיך, לעולם ועד. כי חלק חיינו באורך ימינו, באורך ימינו, ובכם נגד יומם ולילה, יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Vaed. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים כאלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושילמתם לבדיך, ודיברת בם בשבתך, בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך, ובקומך. וקשרתם לראות על ידיך, וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
We read responsively on page 39. In a world torn by violence and pain, a world far from wholeness and peace, give us the courage to say, Adonai, there is one God in heaven and earth. The high heavens declare your glory. May earth reveal your justice and love. From bondage in Egypt we were delivered. At Sinai we bound ourselves to your way. Inspired by prophets and instructed by sages, time and again we overcame oppressive forces. Though our failings are many and our faults are great, it has been our glory to bear witness to our God, keeping alive in dark ages your vision of a world redeemed. Let us continue to work for the day when the nations will be one and at peace. Then shall we rejoice as Israel did, singing on the shores of the sea.
תהילות אוספלי, נורא תהילות אוספלי, מלכותך רבניך, בוקר יום לפני ושם יום, זכיל ירדו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כיפת אדוני את יעקב, וגלום יד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, וכבדנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, וכבדנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום ויתולינו השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, וכבדנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, וכבדנו שומרנו לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני, הפורש סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים. Page 44. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Prayer invites God's presence to suffuse our spirits, God's will to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soil, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We rise for the tefillah on page 46.
Adonai sefatoi tiftach, ufi yagit elotecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu ve'imateinu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. Elohei Gadol, Gibor v'Chadorah, Elelekun, Gam Elech Hasadim Tovim, V'Kanei Hakol, V'Zocher Chesdei Avot v'Imachot, ומביא גאולה לבני בני מלך מלך עושה ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם בעזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחייך כולתו, רב להושיע. מוריד ותעל, בחלקי לחיים בחסד, בחייך כל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ברחי חיים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים באמונתו, לשעיני יפר, יחמוך בעל גיבורות, ומטעם מלוך, מלך ממיית ומקיים, ומצמיח ישר, ונאמן נטל לך חיות הכל, ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יחללו הסלע, ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue silently through page 63, and when your private prayer is complete, we'll join back together in a few moments in song.
עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, ויעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, יעשה שלום, יעשה Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, Shalom Aleinu ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, Shalom Aleinu ועל כל ישראל.
Our service continues with a prayer for healing for those in our community who are in need of healing of body, healing of spirit, healing of mind. Page 253. Meshaberach avotenu v'imotenu Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech et hacholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal all those in our community who are ill, including Barry Abrams, Brenda Auerbach, Cynthia Baylor, Michael Block, Nathan Daniel Boyd, Sandy Chernow, Gaylord Conquest, Beth Cooper, Andy Dorfman, Marilyn Eisner, Sheila Evans, Binyamin Ben Kochava ve'Ephraim, Merrill Fulmer, Lou Geddes, Stuart Geddes, Brian Geiger, Eileen Green, Nancy Jacobs, Rizel Shira Bat Esther Malkachai, David Lieberman, Spencer Leibowitz, Gershona Binyamina Batsora Valevi, Harvey Ostroff, Joan Ostroff, Vakia Partielli, Sharon Paul, Kelly Quagliati, Harav Rachel Bat Shmuel Ufruma, Rebitzer David Rachmiel Ben Sara Valevi, Yehudit Bracha Bat Yechida Ruchel Ubaruch Reuven, Samuel Schloss, Linda Skussel, Kirsten Spiegel, Jordan Maverick Steinberg, Samara Sternberg, Beverly Tisdale, Gail Tomasco, Richard Wright Sr., Rob Zimba, Barbara Zipperman, Cecilia Zlotnick. I invite you to add any names to this list, any names for anyone for whom you're praying for healing tonight. Barry, please. Thank you. Nancy. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Did you? No, okay. Sorry, I thought she got it all. All right, thank you. Anita. Thank you. Bev. Thank you. Thank you. With hope for healing in our hearts, we join together in the singing of Misha Berach, page 253.
To make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shalema. Of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
So here we are, May 20th, right? You know that date? It's been coming a while. Well, it's a date that is, it's in the English calendar, but here we are in the middle of, well, we're between Passover and Shavuot, so we are in the Omer, right? We're in the period of the counting of the Omer. And here's the thing, it's not just any time in the Omer, but yesterday was actually Lag BaOmer. Some of you have heard of Lag BaOmer. It's the 33rd day of the Omer, and it's got some interesting explanations behind what makes it a special day, and it's got some interesting customs. But I want to talk to you about one of the things that is done and celebrated on this day. So it's there are people, hundreds and hundreds of people, go every year on Lag BaOmer to Meron, which is in Israel, and they visit the grave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. He was considered a great light of Torah, a great teacher, and he has this amazing legacy. Well, one of the questions is, what is that legacy? And so I want to tell you a story that comes from the Talmud about Shimon Bar Yochai that gives us a little bit of insight into who he was and what he was about. Maybe it can give us some insight into what kinds of people we want to be as well. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he and his son Rabbi Elazar would teach Torah. They were living in the Roman period, in the 2nd century, and the Romans decreed that they wanted to kill Shimon Bar Yochai because of the influence and the power that he had over the people. And so he and his son went to live in a cave for how many years? Do you remember? We talked about it. You take your guess. 12, right? Yeah. So he was in the cave for 12 years, and there was a stream of water that ran in front of the cave, so that they could be hydrated, and there was also a carob tree that fed them. And all day and all night, they would pray and they would study Torah. They would pray and they would study Torah. And they really became spiritually uplifted in a powerful way. They'd gotten so involved in the study of Torah that it was almost like their souls were floating, were lighter than the average person. And they really could see more deeply the meaning of existence, what it meant to be a person, what it meant to be a Jew. Well, after a while, 12 years, Eliyahu Hanavi, Elijah the prophet, came to them and said that they were no longer being pursued by the Romans and that they could depart from the cave. Well, what happened was they departed. You'd think they'd be really happy, but everywhere they looked, they saw people. They saw people in their fields, working their fields, plowing and sowing. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, "Look at these people. They're abandoning the eternal life that we can touch by studying Torah. They could be studying Torah right now, but instead, they're working in their fields." And in fact, he and Elazar were so incensed that people couldn't see the truth and the glory of Torah in each and every moment that wherever they looked, the thing that they looked upon would burst into flames. Like they had laser eyes, like Marvel superheroes. Well, God, a voice from heaven, a bat kol, came and said to the two, "You emerge from the cave just to destroy my world. Get back in the cave." And so they were sent back to the cave, and they lived there for another year. Then they came out again, they emerged, and everywhere that Rabbi Elazar would look with his laser eyes and things would catch on fire, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, his father, would bring a sense of healing. He would stop the fire, he would calm things. And he said to his son, "My son, you and I, we suffice. We're enough. B'nai B'ni, he said, Dai le'olam ani ve'ata. It's enough, you and me, that we love Torah. So it's a little bit like other people don't know what they're talking about. They don't know what they're missing. They're totally misguided. But it's enough that we know. So that's a step. He's not using laser eyes to blow things up, but it wouldn't win any contests for tolerance. It's a little judgmental. But then something else happened. As the sun was setting on Shabbat Eve, they saw an elderly man who was holding 2 bundles of myrtle branches and running at twilight. They said to him, "Why do you have these?" And he said to them, "In honor of Shabbat." So we're talking about the 2nd century version of flowers for Shabbat. They said to him, "Why do you need 2 of them? I mean, one suffices, one's enough." And he says, "Well, one is part of the teaching. One is for the teaching that we should zachor et Shabbat, that we should remember the Shabbat, and one is for the teaching shamor et Shabbat, that we should observe Shabbat." And it occurred to Shimon Bar Yochai that this man loved Torah. He loved God. He loved his Judaism. He loved life. And he went about it in a totally different way than he and his son. And so a scholar a scholar, Daniel Lowenstein, that I studied with a little bit, talks about how one of the great things about Shimon Bar Yochai is that he transforms. There's 3 stages in this story. The first stage is the destructive stage, right? Where you have no room for anyone who's different, no room for anyone who doesn't see things the way that you see them. And then the second stage is that he moves to being tolerant, as I mentioned, of those who are different. But then he takes it a step further. And it's a step I think we're invited to take. All of us have moments, perhaps online, perhaps in the public square, where the truth seems so clear to us that we cannot imagine what is wrong with people who don't see it. It's just inconceivable. How can they not know? That's Shimon Bar Yochai in the second stage, or maybe the first. But then, the third stage, he stops, he taps into his curiosity. He doesn't just observe and judge the man running with the myrtle branches. He asks him, "Tell me about what you're doing. Explain to me, if you would, what this is about." I think that Lag BaOmer and Shimon Bar Yochai's legacy invites us to utilize our curiosity, to listen to others, but not just listen while they talk, actually ask the questions that will make for a conversation, that will make for learning. And interestingly, Lag BaOmer also marks the ending of a plague experienced by Rabbi Akiva's students, who had been suffering from a plague. 24,000 of them died. And finally, the plague abated on the 33rd day of the Omer. But it's taught that the reason that the plague came upon them was because though they sat in the study hall, they studied Torah together, they did not show respect to one another. And so when we think about this holiday, it's a minor holiday, but it's a holiday that reminds us that we're part of a large community. And that community has differences. People are not the same. People don't see the world in the same way. But we have the chance to ask. We have a chance to connect with one another. We have a chance to learn. Shabbat Shalom. Our service continues this evening with the counting of the Omer, which page I always forget. What is it, 270 what? Did somebody say 278? All right, thank you. All right, so yesterday was the 33rd day of the Omer. Then today, Friday, was the 34th day of the Omer. So Friday night starts what, Charlie? Let's see, Thursday was 33. Thursday was 33. Friday during the day was 34. But remember Jewish holidays start the night before. So all day long it's been 34, but it's almost nighttime. So what's it going to be? 35th, the 35th day of the Omer. So I'm going to invite you to rise as we say the blessings together. Hineni muchan u'mezuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of the counting of the Omer. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. Hayom shishim v'chamesh yom shehem. I didn't look up in advance. Let's do some math. Yeah, 5 weeks. Shehem chamisha shavuot la'omer. Today is the 35th day, which is 5 weeks of the Omer. Amen. We continue on page 282 as we remain standing for Aleinu. Charlie, would you and a member of your family that you pick come help us open the ark? Come on, gentlemen. We rise. Or we're up. Never mind.
Shalom.
You may be seated. An El Malay for gun violence. El Malay Rachamim, God full of mercy who dwells above, remind us of your divine presence here below, where hearts break as blood flows. Our neighborhoods have lost dozens, hundreds of community members and beloveds to gun violence just in the last few years. Give rest on the wings of the divine presence to the souls of all those individuals whose lives were taken far too soon. And may they find rest on your wings in the knowledge that we, their neighbors, their survivors, will not forget them and will not forget the work that we must do to fix this broken world. Merciful One, as we work to protect living souls so that no more lives will be lost to guns, no more lives will be lost to hatred, senseless hatred. Protect our lost neighbors and loved ones' souls forever. The everlasting is their heritage, and they shall rest peacefully at their lying places. And let us say,
Amen.
Amen. In addition to those who perished in the tragedy in Buffalo this week, we remember our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people, those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Here in the Beth Am community, we especially remember those whose families are in the first 30 days of mourning in the Shloshim period. Mark, it's so wonderful to have you here with us tonight, and I hope that this community continues to be a source of comfort for you in the loss of your mother, Annette. And Barry, I hope that you get a sense of respite and comfort as well. You run around and make all kinds of things happen, but I hope that your soul is fed by all of this too, as you mourn your father, Seymour Dinkelman. We also remember Anne Solosky, the mother of Randy Marmer. And we link their names to the names of those whose yard sites occur this week. Misu Azik, Martha Altacher, Max Auerman, Herman Bell, Louis Bender, Orville Berkson, Sylvia Blechman, Philip Block, Jerome Bloomer, Ethel Brenner, Samuel Brogg, Samuel Budenstein, Diane Bunsis, Marilyn Burchuk, Harrison Ross Bick, Abraham Abe Cades, Leonard Kahn, Adele F. Cohen, Arthur Dansky, Hannah Foreman, Esther Friedman, Aaron Fulmer, Rebecca Gold, Milton Goldman, Molly Goldstein, James Goodman, Ian Gordon, Marie N. Greenfield, Edward Kahn, Louis J. Katz, Edward Cates, Jacob Cooperberg, Edward Leopold, Edith London, Melvin Lynn, David Marks, Grace Karen Marks, Judith May, Nathan Mazer, Rose Miller, Evelyn Morantz, Irving Nissenfeld, Richard Older, Adolph Pawson, Benjamin Plotnick, Sylvia Press, Roy E. Reiner, Betty Robinson, Edith Rosengarten, Albert Savage, Samuel Shankman, Martin Scheinholz, Harry Maurice Schwanefeld, Hyman Siegel, Ruth Semberg, Jay Slipikoff, Tilly Slipikoff, Paul Staller, Arnold Sterling, Verena Tukoski, Rose Tolchinsky, Harvey Walters, Nathan Zolyan. I invite you to add any names to this list, the names of anyone for whom you're saying Kaddish tonight. Zichronam livracha, may all their memories be an abiding blessing as we join together in praise of God's name with the words of Kaddish, page 294, as we rise. Yid Kadal, Yid Kadash, Shmei Rabbah, V'yalma divrach rutei, v'yamlich malchutei, B'chayechon uvyomechon, uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala uvizman kariv imru, Amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ula'almei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shemed kudusha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehi Shlama Rabbah min Shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, Amen. You may be seated. It's my pleasure to call forward once again Barry Tinkleman to offer, Bruce Sham. Bruce Sham, who's in his Barry Tinkleman costume. No, Bruce Sham, Barry Tinkleman in his Bruce Sham costume.
I really wanted to have that.
See, I think he should have his own, his very specific own, like a Bruce theme. Bruce, do you have some announcements for us?
I really
Thank
do.
you.
Shabbat shalom, everybody, and mazel tov, Max and your family. If you didn't have a chance to read the email today, your mitzvah project is really amazing and very touching. So I hope everybody takes time to look at what Max did to raise money for orphans and wounded soldiers in Ukraine. Kol kavod. It's really very nice. And if tonight was any indication of how tomorrow's going to go, you're going to have a very great day. So mazel tov. We are returning to the TBT Chapel for Torah study, led by our very own Rabbi Torberg. And for those who want to participate in the peer-led service on Zoom, Sue Fleischman will be our Torah reader tomorrow. But at 10 o'clock, you can be in the sanctuary and hear Max do his bar mitzvah. So we're very excited about that. Sunday, Pirkei Avot with Rabbi Lieb at 11 o'clock. And our Pride Shabbat Under the Stars on June 3rd. It is going to be amazing. We are doing the check scroll unveiling. I guess it's still not unveiled, right? So you can't see it. It is beautiful. There is sort of a sneak preview in the Jewish Exponent that came out today or this week. So you might want to take a look at that. And a couple other dates that I think are noteworthy. The Sisterhood Supper and Installation of Officers on May 26th at 6:30. If you have not signed up for that, I believe you can still do that. And on June 5th, confirmation class on Shavuos. We would love for you to join us for that. And it's not too soon to plan a trip to Israel, is what I'm hearing, right? So December 21st of 2023 to January 2nd of 2024, but join Rabbi Tornberg on a family exploration to Israel. So that should be just amazing. All right, so Shabbat Shalom. Good luck tomorrow, Max.
Thank you, Mr. Sham. You're welcome. We're going to continue with a closing song, which the cantor will reveal. Yeah, she's going to reveal it.
I told Mark, but I forgot the page. It's Yom Zeli Yisrael. So we're going to look for that.
When we've concluded our closing song, I want to invite everybody to join us for a little oneg in the lobby and a chance to greet one another, wish one another Shabbat Shalom.
Okay, I'm still looking, page 330. Yom Zeli Yisrael, 330. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. ציווית פקודים במעמד הר סיני, שבת ומועדים לשמור בכל שנה, לערוך לבדי מסית וארוחה. שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. קידשת ברעת אותו מכל ימים, כששת כלית מלאכת עולמים, ומצאו הגויים השקי דודך. שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. יום זה לישראל הרע ושמחה, שבת, שבת, שבת מנוחה. Famous tune by Bonnie Shore,
It was beautiful.
who was
Didn't know
here
he wrote
and
that.
yes, he was, and he taught it to us. Yes, we remember that.
Yeah.
With a big
Thank you to those of you who supported our youth group, our BAFTI, with by joining us for Shabbat dinner prior to the service. Mazel tov, Max, to you and your whole family. We're glad you're here. Shabbat shalom.